A body found on a residential street with an improbable cause of death. We're going to take a look at a case that has shocked a suburb of London. It was a case that puzzled police and residents of one London street. Last September, the body of a man in his 20s was found. He had suffered horrendous injuries to his head and also to his face. He had no identity papers. No one reported him missing. A huge police investigation followed. It spanned 2 continents and 8 countries. The people involved take up the story for us.
Hello, police emergency.
Hello, we've just been walking to church down Portman Avenue in Mortlake, and we've come across what looks like a dead body.
Okay, whereabouts do you think this is?
It's outside number 22.
At approximately 7:45, I heard a thud, and I thought nothing of it and went back to sleep. And the next thing I can remember is my brother said to me, Claire, he said, you need to wake up. He said, there's a man in the street and he's dead.
He was a black guy, wearing a pair of sneakers, jeans, and just a t-shirt and a hoodie, laying face down. It was a shock, obviously, because we thought he'd been murdered then, and that's a shock.
His body had twisted and his head had split open.
What started out as a crime scene that looked like the guy had been murdered, I noticed they kept looking up at the sky.
The way it looked like he'd fallen from a very long way.
I think one of the uniformed officers said, well, this has happened before in the past. A stowaway fell from a flight onto a car park in Richmond. And then so a few of us just all looked up and thought, hang on a minute, this guy has fallen from an aircraft.
I've been a coroner in West London for nearly 14 years and have dealt with 5 or 6 similar cases of stowaways falling from aircraft.
He had Angolan and Botswanan currency in his pocket. The phone was from a provider called Airtel, and I think another one from Movicell, so it was all a little bit conflicting.
Nothing was known at all about him. All we knew was that he'd probably come on a plane from Angola. We initially thought, well, he was from that country. And I think without the second phone SIM card, we would still be in the dark.
The breakthrough was the data on the SIM card that was in his pocket. It included information about a text message, but the interesting thing was the text message was sent to a mobile phone that was registered in Switzerland.
The policeman on the phone told me that this person, unknown person, had fallen from the plane in Richmond. At first, I didn't really know what he was talking about.
Then all of a sudden, with her, the penny dropped, and there was a total change in her demeanour. She got very upset.
I told him, I know who it is. I know who it is.
In 2010, she was living in South Africa with her then husband and her father.
When I lived in Cape Town, he was my gardener and also taking care of my home as well.
A man whose body was found in a street in West London after falling to the ground from the undercarriage of a plane has been identified. He was a Mozambican national called Jose Matata.
Fala comigo, por favor.
Joseph was a really nice man. He was a really good person, and he had a really soft manner about him. I miss him. He told me about his childhood and how difficult it had been. There were floods in his area in Mozambique. It seemed to be quite a big ordeal for him. He went to work in the mines in Mozambique. That was also very difficult for him. I asked him if he would like his life to be written down in a book one day, and he said he would love that because then people would know how hard it had been for him.
She remembered that in September he'd sent her some messages indicating he needed some help and he was thinking of travelling to Europe for a better life.
I really wish he would have called me just before taking the plane. I would have told him, get out of that plane, don't go inside it.
It's the sort of case that upsets everybody that comes into contact with it, I think, because you feel that they had such high hopes of finding a different life here, and they were obviously more optimistic than they really should have been, considering the dangers.
I just thought, oh Joseph, what have you done? Why did you get into that plane? Why weren't you more patient? But We are Muslims, so we believe that when it's your time to die, it's your time to die, and no one can prevent that from happening. The day of your death is written before you are born, so it's his resting place. I take comfort in thinking that his soul can find peace.
The most remarkable story there. Well, you would think that stowaways falling from the sky are a rare occurrence. But actually, if you go to our website, you're going to find that in the last 60 years, 96 individuals from around the world have tried to travel in plane wheel wells. Some 3/4 of them have died as a result. So to get more on this story, do go to bbc.com/news.